This is the first episode of season 2 of Soberly Speaking. Today is January 3rd, 2025.
Yeah.
Today is our 2-year anniversary of being sober, like today on the dot.
Absolutely wild.
Isn't that
That's
a full
crazy.
circle moment?
Absolutely crazy.
I wanted to get you back on. Obviously, we started season 1 together. Yep. Season 2, this episode, I wanted to focus more on the difference of our second year of sobriety versus our first. Because to me, they were so different.
Oh, worlds apart. Honestly, just so different.
What was it for you that changed this year?
What was it for me that changed this year compared to the first year of sobriety?
Yeah, with your sobriety.
Look, I think the biggest thing for me, just looking back, would be acceptance of, this new person that I am. Because it is, you are a new person. You are changing who you are by becoming sober, changing that part of you that maybe you didn't like, or, the parts of you that you didn't like when you drank. And I feel like this year I finally, I accepted who I was and I accepted that part of me. Yeah, and I think that was a big difference from the first year. And obviously, as you all know, I lapsed in the first year, it was 7 or 8 months in.
11 months.
11 months in.
November.
Wow, a while ago. So I lapsed then, and I just think, I just spoke about it before, off air, and it's like I think that fully cemented it for me. And, around that point, and then, going into this second year has fully accepted who I am and, who I am when I don't drink alcohol. And, really starting to just like who I am, I think, a bit more. And, so that's the difference.
That first year of sobriety for me was a very selfish year, and I think that's very important in sobriety. You have to put yourself and your sobriety before anyone or anything else, in my personal opinion.
To interject as well, I just want to, we obviously in that first year and this year, we've done it together and we've supported each other. And it's funny you say that. It's like you had to become selfish people, and I feel like in that first year of sobriety, it was the most that we've clashed in our relationship, while sober. Like we had our fights when we were drinking. But especially in sobriety, is because it's funny because you're like, it's that your selfish part of you. And it's just like, I was being selfish because I wanted to fix who I was, and Jules couldn't do that for me, and vice versa. And it's just funny you say that because it really makes sense now looking back,
You have to be so, so selfish. Like you have to say no to everything. This is our journey, by the way, and it's not what I'd recommend for everyone. Everyone's so different. But for us, we had to say no to social invites. We had to stay indoors. We had to put up firm boundaries with our family members.
Yeah.
There were so many things that we had to say no to. We had to really exclude ourselves. You really have to go inwards, and you have to be selfish. Yeah. I wasn't prepared for how violent the jump is from sobriety.
It's
it is crazy. Upon reflection.
Absolutely wild.
And something I was talking to Brody about, one of my best friends when I was back in Perth. When I went sober, and I'm not trying to scare anyone off sobriety, this is just a reflection piece. I didn't realise I would also be walking away from my youth in general. I was no more festivals, no more pre-drinks, no more. It just stopped one day 2 years ago on this day. I said no to all of it, and I'm so grateful that I did. But I think you can also acknowledge how hard it's been.
Oh.
My life,
Yeah.
I don't know. Was I ready to go sober? Yes. Was I ready to say goodbye to my youth? No.
No, yeah.
And you're even younger than me.
And I'm kind of the same now that you mention it, and it's more, definitely that feeling of attachment. But I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to get away from that attachment that my youth was connected to alcohol, and that was the only, really nice thing about it. When
True.
I feel like I kind of want to look at it like, yes, there was alcohol, there was drugs involved when I was growing up, in my youth. And I kind of just want to take it back and strip it back and be like, no, I was, just having fun as a young person. But it's just like now I want to find that fun as an adult and, find those parts of me as a child, which I still am. I'm very much a child, Jules will tell you. And I'm always joking and I'm always, having a laugh about things. And I think it's about finding those moments, without alcohol, and then trying to, just realize that it wasn't the addiction and it wasn't the drug use and alcohol use that made you, your youth, and it wasn't, it was just a byproduct of it.
The second year, the year that we've just done, was really figuring out who am I? I know that sounds so cringe, but
It's so true.
it was really
Yeah.
figuring out who the fuck am I? What am I here to do? I was on this mission this year to figure out my life's path and my life's purpose.
Fucking figuring it out. I tell you what.
I'm obsessed with discovering more about myself.
Yep.
And I was through that year. And I think towards the end of the year, especially launching this Solely Speaking, which I feel so passionately about. And as we've talked about behind closed doors, I think I started getting a bit pulled in many directions last year, like the end of last year. Like, was I going to go full-time into events? Was I going to go full-time into influencing? Was I going to go? And the more I come back to my true purpose, or what I feel in my heart of hearts, is to give back and to truly be of service. And that is Soberly Speaking.
And yeah, like off air, Jules is like, this is just a little snippet into it. It's absolutely insane. Like, I don't know. I'm different, and I wouldn't say I don't care as much about people, but Jules is very, how do I say? She wants to help people. She wants to help the little people. She wants to help the medium people and the big people. She wants to help everyone in between. So I think, yeah, that happens off air as well. And there's always that thinking, and she's always thinking about, you know, the next step. It's like, how can I help people? How will I best help people? And, you know, I think we've kind of you specifically fell into this more so like the podcast side, and, you know, and also the nitty gritty. And we love getting into just the people's real truths and real lives. And I feel like that is what helps people, and that is what helped us as well when we were going sober, and we just want to give back in that way. You know, and I feel like this is the platform to do that. So,
Well, I feel like when you're in the trenches and you're going through your addictions, you assume that no one in the world has ever gone through what you're,
you're like,
you know,
woe is me,
you're like,
it's
oh
me,
my
I'm the
God,
one going
I'm
through
so
it.
alone. So the more
Yeah.
that people can see themselves in these stories, the more that is doing my life's purpose. I feel like, look, that could keep changing and that could keep evolving. Well, from today, we're going into our 3rd year of sobriety. How do you feel, and what are your hopes and dreams for us for this year?
For me, it feels like I'm over the ledge a little bit, and I'm over that kind of like, okay, it's been 2 years. I've settled into kind of like my new routines of like going to the gym in the morning, and, you know, all these healthy habits that I've adopted since going sober. Excited to continue those habits. We have big dreams for this year. I have big dreams for myself, separate goals from Jules, and I'm very excited to smash them, and I'm very focused on that. And I just don't think I would be if I was still drinking, and I think I would still be in that trap, and I would still be doing the 9 to 5.
You wouldn't have your
drinking.
job now.
I wouldn't have my job now.
No
like
way.
I'm getting so many opportunities, and it's not even like, it's insane. Like, it's like I can do little ventures, and I can explore different jobs, and I can do what I like and explore hobbies that I have, and still, it's like it all comes in, and it's all like continuing to flow, and it's just like, it's insane.
Well, because do you know what I think you are now?
What?
That I don't think you have been in past jobs, especially the job that you almost got fired from.
Yeah.
That is still your job. You're reliable now. You weren't reliable, even as a boyfriend.
Yeah, I show up now. I think that's, if I could say, is that 3 words? I show up in 2025. I'm going to show up. And I think that's what I'm going to take into the 3rd year of sobriety, is continuing to show up.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
I asked you this at a wedding, and you fucking it made me so anxious and nervous when we were at Caitlin's wedding. I said, do you think you'll ever drink again? And you didn't even miss a beat. And you were like, well, it's not off the cart. Like, you said something along those lines.
Yeah.
And obviously my palms started to get sweaty because we haven't done enough couples therapy around that to make me feel comfortable because of the person you become when you drink.
Yeah.
I'm no angel as well. I'm not saying that. How are you feeling about that sitting here today? Do you think you'll drink again? Do you think you'll do Coke again?
It's hard, right? Because I think it's the ebbs and flows of life. And I feel like, you know, I've become such a better person from not drinking, and everything I've learned. And I've learned more in these past 2 years about myself than I have any point up to that. Like, it's really extrapolated and everything, and it's really made everything, just put everything more in perspective, you know, what my morals and values are from being sober. So to answer your question, I think currently no, like I don't want to drink again, and I don't want to do coke again or drugs, and feel like I need that to be happy in my life and need that part of me. But in saying that, you know, it's like, I don't know, like I'm 26, and I don't know if there's a later point in my life where I can manage that, or, you know, in the future, maybe there's some drug that, you know, they prove, I don't know, makes you feel good, but doesn't make you feel like a piece of shit. Or Jules and I want to be with Jules for the rest of my life, and I love her very much, and I want to marry Jules, and I want to do everything, have kids.
Oh God, where's this going? I'm scared.
What? Well, I'm not going to propose. What do you think? I'm not allowed to yet. Is that what you thought I was going to do?
I don't know what I thought. I'm just nervous. What's this building up to? No,
I'm saying I love Jules very much. I love you, and I love who we've become. And I just don't think, knowing that I'm going to be with you the rest of my life, I just don't think I could drink with you. I couldn't drink being with you again. Like, as a partner, I just couldn't do that to you, and I just wouldn't drink again with you, you know, if we were to break up for whatever reason. But we won't, because I love her very much. She knows this. But I couldn't do it while being with you. I couldn't do that to our children.
But also we might, the realist, I'm also a realist. Like, we might break up and you might start drinking. Like, that's fine. Like, if that's your path. I don't think you can moderate, because I can't moderate, and I've seen how you act. I don't think moderation is, and knowing your parents, knowing my parents, it's not a thing we can't do.
It's in our history and in our blood, you know, to be addicted to things. So I just think it just couldn't happen.
I still would like to go to an addiction therapist. I think the therapy we went to was just like a couples therapist, which I don't think they understand the nuances of and the layers of addiction. I don't think
she had any idea.
She had no idea.
Just generally, but
so I think if one of us was to drink, who knows what, I might have a baby and freak, like, who knows? I don't know if I'll never drink again either. I don't, like, sitting here now, I can confidently tell you that, but I know I'm also acknowledging that I'm still quite young, like I'm 31.
Yeah. And I think I take that in consideration too. Like, although both of us have lived 1,000 lives from our drinking and addiction history, and, you know, people are like, you're so young, why you quit alcohol? And it's like, well, I've done a lot more than you are at your age, you know, already up to this point, I feel like. So, yeah, I feel like I've kind of lived that life already. So if I was to go back to alcohol and drinking, it would never be, well, I say this, but it would never be on that same level again that I was.
But we say that and we can't moderate, so it would be at that same level.
I know, but we don't know at that point in our lives if we change or, you know, what could happen, as we know.
Do you feel comfortable if you wanted to start drinking? Do you think you would feel comfortable enough to tell me?
To tell you?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It would have to be a conversation before.
Yeah.
It would have to be. And, like, we've spoken about this off air as well, and we, like you said, we would go to therapy for it as well. And I could never do that to you. I could never just behind your back start drinking again. I just wouldn't. Like, I just love you too much and respect you too much to do that.
Okay, well, we've got some questions here.
Okay.
I put the hit out on TikTok just saying that I was going to interview Beau, and we're wrapping up our 2 years of being sober. This person says, I'd love to hear what rewards you'd recommend for hitting milestones. ADHD are here and I need that dopamine reward to stay motivated.
We just had someone on the podcast not long ago, and they said about, you know, now that they're sober, and if they want to go and spend $40 on a croissant and a coffee out, then they'll do that. And that's their reward for, you know, staying committed to something like sobriety, which is such a big beast to tackle.
It's very vital, though, that you celebrate all of those little wins, because I think as sober people, we have tied celebration so heavily to champagne and to alcohol that because we can't drink, we just forego celebrating and you have to. You
have to, yeah.
Even if it's going out or even if it's buying something that you wouldn't buy. I normally do something like a day spa or something that I would never have done because I think it's too much money. All of those things I think are too much money. That's how I now reward myself instead of champagne.
I think a good thing as well that you could do is think about how much money you would have saved up to that point just on alcohol. And then maybe spend, not all the time, but maybe just have a bit of a splurge and then spend that amount of money that you would have saved on something else that you want to do, like Jill said, a day spa that you maybe couldn't have afforded, you know, when you were drinking.
Pop open the non-alc champagne, do whatever you have to do, eat all of the sugar, but make sure you celebrate those little wins.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, next question. Did you use or have anything else as an escapism? You go first.
Yeah. Look, I started playing a mobile game on my phone. You know, I started drinking way more takeaway coffee. Maybe I overindulged a little bit too much. And I noticed, replace those things, you know, replace the alcohol addiction with maybe other addictions.
Dopamine hit.
Same dopamine hit, you know, that instant gratification. So I think I'm going to try this year and stay away from that and try and, you know, change my mindset towards that. So I'm looking at working on that.
Mine was still sugar. Sugar for me is my drug. It's my new drug. I have been under hypnotherapy for it. I've gone and saw all these spiritual healers for it, for actual therapy for it. I just had to go cold turkey because clearly I can't moderate again. So that is something I'm giving up this year is sugar. But yes, to answer your question, that was my escapism. Oh, it's my Achilles heel, truly. I'm going to end on this question. Did you discover new attractions about one another since becoming sober? Did your attraction levels change since being sober?
Ladies first.
You going sober with me was the hottest, most romantic thing I think anyone could do for another human being. That was so attractive. You went from being my boyfriend to being my partner the day that happened. It's hard. It's like, why I'm hesitating is because when we first met, we were drunk and high. And I think when we were only together for 6 months before we went sober. And I think when you first meet, you know, you're having all this crazy drunken hot sex and all of that. And obviously with sobriety, you take away that kind of like drunken haze and some of those fun nights out.
Yeah.
But in saying that, yes, it might not be as crazy and hot and as fun, but I think the respect we have for each other and the communication.
There's a depth to it more than a surface level. You know, we kind of had a bit of a honeymoon phase, I guess.
Yeah, first 6 months.
Yeah.
Apart, if we weren't screaming at each other when we were drunk, we were having sex.
That, and then on that, when we went sober together, like you said, there was that other layer and that depth that just suddenly appeared and the communication flowed and yeah, it was just really, really good. And it still is. And to answer your question, yes, definitely way more attracted to Julia now, and every day that goes by I am more and more, because I think every day that we are working towards our personal goals and achieving them and watching each other achieve these goals and just be each other's, you know, biggest fans and watching that happen in real time is like the most attractive thing in the world to me, because we're just being better people and we're allowing each other to be better people and get better every day. And I think we're just honestly the most perfect two little perfect people in the whole world.
Fuck no. God, no, we're not perfect.
No, for each other, I should say. And I just respect you so much. And I respect everything you've done and continue to do and will continue to do.
That's so kind. Fuck, I don't want to cry.
Why?
I just don't want to start the season like this, but it looks like it's already happening. As I've said to Beau, like him saying, when I said I want to go sober, Beau didn't hesitate and he said, like, let's do it. And then this year when I said, I want to start interviewing people, Beau didn't hesitate. And he said, let's do it. And I don't know, I've never actually said this, but like towards the end of this year, I decided to leave my job and I had no money. Well, not no, that's a lie, but like I had no stability at all.
You have a backup plan basically is the...
And I said to Beau, I just didn't feel right in that job anymore. And I said to Beau, I'd like to leave my job and can you support me? It's not like he's on crazy money either. And he just once again, like without hesitation said like, I've got you. Your ability to continuously show up for us as a couple and for actively wanting to get Soberly Speaking out to the world, and to every time I interview someone, Beau's right there. He might not be in camera, but he's behind the scenes. Anyone who I've interviewed will know that he's the one that like pulls all the strings and does everything. So I can't wait to see you get your flowers this year. I'm so grateful, and it's so romantic. And I don't need a marriage certificate. Like that, to me, everything you've just like held my hand through and just said like, I got you, is more than you'll ever understand. And I'm so grateful. Enough about you.
Yeah, that's about all I get for the year. So I'm really just lapping it up. No, but I'm very appreciative is the correct word. And, you know, I see how hard you work, and I see the hours you put in, and, you know, as much as Jules is painting this picture of me, I can be quite lazy at times, and, you know, I don't have that grit sometimes, which I'm still learning, and motivation to push myself, whereas Jules has it 24/7. There's no off switch, and she's just wanting to be the most amazing person, and is becoming the most amazing person in the whole world because of what she's doing. And I just want to see her succeed. It's hard to be around someone like that and not want to be the best person yourself. So I can only attain credit to Jules because, yeah, she's made me want to be a better person and a better man. So thank you.
So to finish this little intro episode, I do have a surprise. We are going to 2 episodes a week, and you obviously know because this has now come out on a Monday, but we will be dropping episodes every Monday and every Thursday. So the Monday episodes will be the episodes that I do like live in Sydney or on Gold Coast or in a studio like this. The Thursday episodes will be the ones that are done online. Yeah. If you're listening via audio, there won't be any difference. Obviously, they just won't be up on YouTube or anything, but they'll still be up on the podcast. Yeah. I just feel like this is the year to give back. I'm really feeling like I need to be of service. I just may as well just go all out. So I hope you love this season. You can watch this on YouTube. You can watch this on Spotify. We are on TikTok, Instagram.
We're going all out, baby.
We're going all out. And thank you for being with us. I really hope you love this season of Soberly Speaking.